The Spinners are one of R&B's most recognizable and enduring groups. The Spinners have never lost their international appeal with a legendary heritage spanning over 6 decades. Before we get started in today's video, let's go ahead and leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to stay up to date. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Billy Henderson, Henry Fanbrough, Pervious Jackson, C.P. Spencer, and James Edwards created the Domingos in 1954. The group, they will begin in the Herman Gardens housing projects. The Domingos, like many other groups around this time, they will spend their time creating chemistry by owning their craft and singing in neighborhoods and in nightclubs whenever possible. Edwards and Spencer would shortly leave the group roughly after a month, and they was replaced by Bobby Smith and George Dixon. With this lineup, the group, they will be brand and name themselves the Detroit Spinners, or the Spinners for short. In 1961, the group, they would get the notice of producer Harvey Fuqua. That same year, they were signed to his imprint Tri-5 Records. The group, they would release their first single, That's What Girls Are Made For.
That's what girls are made for.
Chico Edwards, James' brother, had took over for Dixon in 1963. That same year, Fuqua's brother-in-law, Motown owner Berry Gordy, he will buy out Fuqua's entire label and his whole roster. Now, in order to get their name out there, the group, they will travel to New York and they will open up for Marvin Gaye at the Apollo Theater in 1964. The group's performance was outstanding, and it provided enough motivation for the group to return to the studio to produce another smash single. This single was I Always Love You.
Though you're breaking my heart, taking my sunshine.
For 1966 to 1969, the group, they would release various of singles, but the only single that charted was the 1966 single Truly Yours. Now during this time period, Motown was at its peak, and if you wasn't in the top 10 on the Billboard charts, then you wasn't a hit. Motown, they will appoint road managers, chaperones, and shipping clerks to the group. Chico Edwards was eventually replaced by G.C. Cameron in 1967. The group, they would release their debut album titled The Original Spinners that same year. The group's second album, titled Second Time Around, was released in 1970 and had peaked at 199 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 46 on the Billboard Top R&B Album charts. This album will produce 2 hit singles with It's a Shame and Together We Can Make Such Sweet Music. After the group's second album, Atlantic artist Aretha Franklin became aware of Motown underutilization of the group, and she advised the group to complete their contract and leave. The group was due for another album, so Motown paired Stevie Wonder to produce this album. However, the group's contract expired, which left this album incomplete. Cameron, he couldn't leave Motown due to his contractual responsibilities, so he was asked his cousin Philippe Wayne to fill in. After signing with Atlantic, the band, they began working closely with legendary producer Tom Bell. Now Bell, he developed a smooth, seductive tone for which the band is known for today. Starting out, their first hit under the label will be the song I'll Be Around.
Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever you want me.
The second hit will be followed up with Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, followed by One of a Kind Love Affair. In 1973, the group, they will release their first album under Atlantic titled Spinners. This album peaked at number 14 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 1 on the Billboard Top R&B Album charts, as well as going certified gold. Following this album, the group, they will release 5 albums in 3 years, which all albums went gold. These albums were the 1974 albums, Mighty Love, that charted at number 16 on the Billboard 200 charts, New and Approved, that charted at number 9 on the Billboard Top 200 charts and number 1 on the Billboard Top R&B Album charts. The 1975 album, Pick a Litter, that debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 2 on the Billboard Top R&B Album charts, also going 31 on the Canadian charts. And finally, the 1976 album, Happiness Is Beginning with the Spinners. This album had peaked at number 23 on the Billboard Top 200 charts, number 5 on the Billboard R&B charts, and number 41 on the Canadian charts. Around this time, Felipe Wynne wanted to rename the group Felipe Wynne and the Spinners, but due to internal disputes and egos, this big transaction was not complete. Wynne would quit the band and he went solo in 1977, and he was replaced by John Edwards. Following Wynne's departure, neither party experienced much success. The Spinners, they was inducted into the Michigan Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame in 2017. The Spinners, they would release a total of 20 albums, 5 of which went certified gold. 7 gold singles. Now the Spinners, in my opinion, are certainly one of the most unappreciated groups in R&B history. Instead of waiting to be accepted by the wider audience, I think it's about time for us to have our own Hall of Fame. For us to appreciate the ones who came before us, who already put a stamp on our history. But before we finish this video, let's take a moment to remember all of the Spinners' fallen members.